Drake and Bobby Altoff just dropped their new interview earlier this morning, despite the fact that the first interview got a lot of backlash from people in hip hop medias and hip hop fans because they want to see Drake sit down and speak to somebody in hip hop media or of the culture who would ask Drake questions that we want to know, opposed to doing softball interviews with Bobby Altoff or other people who aren't really of the culture. But during this interview, it looks like Drake heard all the criticism from the first interview, and Drake's kind of threw shots or strike back at hip hop media. Now, Drake's shots at hip hop media was pretty blanket and targeted at the same time. It was blanket because he didn't say names, but it was targeted because we knew exactly who he was referring to.
I really do feel like, and people are asked like, oh, why are you here doing this again?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what's the point? Like, even on the way up here, like, my boy was like, why are you doing this again? And I was like, well, what we did, like, it changed a lot of things for a lot of people. It was me essentially, like, just recognizing somebody that I never met in my life, that I fully believed in, that I thought was really interesting and I wanted to have an interesting conversation with. It pissed off like so many, like, all these losers, these, like, you know, like, story journalists and like this guy and that guy who like feels so entitled to this interview about, and Drake never does anything for like this type of media. And it just like made people so angry.
Before the battle, y'all do my stands. I was making multiple videos calling Drake out for not doing any interviews with hip hop media or with someone from the culture or within the culture who can ask him the hard pressing questions that we want to know. I was calling Drake out too. Post battle, I gotta take a hard look in that mirror and look at hip hop media and say, who can Drake do an interview with in hip hop media post the battle? In this current era of Stan Wars, who could Drake do an interview with that will satisfy the culture? Who? He can't do an interview with the quote unquote legacy journalist that y'all want to see him with. Elliot, cut it out, bro. Elliot posted multiple renditions of Not Like Us just to troll Drake. Who else? Rob Markman. Drake despises him. He hates Drake. He's a Kendrick guy. Who else? The Company Man, cut it out, man. He hates Drake. Who can Drake do an interview with? Who? Go down the list. Even if you want to say, okay, do an interview with somebody that he likes. DJ Academics, that wouldn't satisfy the culture because it's a home turf interview. It would be a nice interview. Just like I wouldn't want to see Kendrick Lamar with DJ Head or Glasses Malone. It's home turf. It's too friendly. Who on the top 25 media list can Drake do an interview with? We don't have it. And we have ourselves to blame. Same reason Kendrick Lamar don't have much options to do an interview with. It's because of us. So when you ask Drake, hey, Drake, do an interview. Hey, Drake, give a stimulus package to somebody unknown, like how you give a stimulus package to Bobby Altoff. Who would Drake give that stimulus package to? Who? Screwface Jean? Cut it out. Jalopy? Cut it out. Who, man? Who? My guy, What's the Dirt? Y'all wouldn't be satisfied with that. Who? So before we complain, we now have to ask ourselves, who can it be? Ebro? Ebro has slandered Drake for the last, 5 years? Calling Drake blackness into question, questioning Drake's mother heritage. Nadeska, who was crying in front of Kendrick Lamar while conducting an interview with him? Jeremy Hackchuck. Who? Now, I love Jeremy, by the way, but who? Because we're currently in an era of Stan Wars, you either pro Kendrick or pro Drake. There's very few people who are in the middle. And those who are in the middle, y'all push to a side anyway. I think I'm in the middle, but y'all push me to a side. Even though I was kicked out the OVO group chats, y'all still push me to a side because I call it down the middle. So it's easy for us to say Drake do an interview, but it's harder to list the person Drake can do an interview with. Go down that top 25 hip-hop media list by Complex, which I don't think that's the media list, okay? Who? Zias and B-Lou, that wouldn't satisfy the culture. Ashan Jawad, that wouldn't satisfy the culture. Bootleg Kev, He's West Coast, right? He's pro Kendrick. Drake wouldn't do that, right? Big Boy come West Coast. Drake wouldn't do that. Nadeska cried in front, man, come on. DDG, we would see that, but that wouldn't satisfy the culture. There would be another softball interview with a streamer. Elliot, cut it out. DJ Head, come on. West Coast. Jadakiss and Fat Joe, I'll be real. That might be an option, but they don't ask no hard-hitting questions. Have you ever watched a Jadakiss and Fat Joe podcast or interview? Have you ever done it? Go watch one of those interviews, bro. Right? The entire podcast will be Jadakiss and Fat Joe skirting around controversial issues, talking about we ain't trying to be messy, yo. We ain't trying to be messy, yo. We different from other podcasts, son. Who else? Shannon Sharp, man. Yo, y'all will blackball Drake immediately, bro. Trapler Ross, come on. I want to see it, but that's too friendly. Ebro, no chance. Nori, come on. Drink champs. Maybe we got one. I love Nori. But if we're relying on Drink Champs to do a textbook journalistic interview with Drake, then we've already lost the plot.
That two people who actually like have just like maybe nothing to talk about or everything to talk about, but just based on like random energy could come together. I think it changed a lot of things. It changed a lot of things like on TikTok. It changed a lot of things like in the streaming world. Like it made people more comfortable to go sit down with somebody that they've never sat down with before, you know, like not to take like overly take credit, but when I do see like somebody, you know, who keeps to themselves, like a Nicki Minaj, like go to like Kai Cenat's house, or like I see, you know, these musicians go to like a guy like Plackboy Max's studio and start making songs with him. Like, I feel like we did usher in the idea of just like you can be from two completely different walks of life. Celebrities are not here that we're like, the goal is not to be like some unattainable for your whole life, you know, and only to like sit with Zane Lowe while he like asks you like the most like curated and formal questions. No disrespect to him, you know, like
Drake. I just got done doing a video where I'm calling Young Thug delusional. I'm not gonna let you escape by it, homie. You didn't invent the genre where rappers go on other platforms with streamers, bro. You cut it out, man. Tory Lanez was doing that before you. Aiden Ross had multiple rappers during the pandemic. Drake, stop it, homie. We love you. Don't go down this route. For God's sakes, don't go down this route. I think Drake will be perfectly good in his right to say, hey, listen, man, I'm not doing no interviews with none of y'all, right? Because y'all hated on me, right? Because y'all, right, like have tried to end me. F y'all. He'll be in his right to say that. Now, do I believe Drake owes the culture this? I do believe he owes it, but I don't believe Drake is owning it alone, right? I think the same pressure we putting on Drake, we got to put it on Kendrick. Kendrick has to come out and sit down too. If we claiming that Drake has to do it, right? Now, Elliot Wilson hasn't fully responded back to this just yet, but he responded back to the Drake and Bobby Althoff interview about 3 days ago before the full interview fully dropped. And here's what he had to say about it.
So that was rooted in controversy. So now she fake retires and now she's back with another Drake interview. And it's just like, again, and we also feel like Drake now is playing the hand of these people outside of this thing, sitting with the Aiden Rosses and all these other people, and I get it. It's part of the stake thing and gambling and kicks and whatever the fuck business he has. He ain't sit with no hip hop people. He pumped fake Castanat that he was going to do a stream and pick these 17 contest winners of the fucking 19 contest winners of the video contest. And now he just draws it out here out of nowhere, you know, with no stream with Castanat, and just draws it out now the same week, ironically. And then he wants to kick Rob Barker's back in because everybody's making fun that you're not talking to people outside the culture. So it all fucking connects. And no, I don't like this shit. And it's dumb. It's stupid.
You want to know why it shouldn't bother you?
Because it's entertainment. And I don't expect people at this point, and I said it before, I don't expect, especially even Drake, Kendrick, or Cole, to do a real sit down with someone and really dissect their feelings of the last 2 years and tell their truth. I don't think there's value to them for that. Like how, like that. Somebody, even academics made a point about that. It's like, do we get to the point where it's Vlad and we're paying for interviews? Because that is a lot of value, right? A Drake interview, a real interview, is worth what, hundreds of thousands of dollars, I would think, right?
Million.
Yeah, exactly. So then, are we gonna start doing that and put bounties up and hey, Kendrick, I got $2 million for you. Have to sit down with me and DJ Head.
He won't do it.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think any of them could have a real interview. So let's take it outside the culture thing. I think what we loved about the clips and what we hate about this type of stuff is that
certain people have a price.
we want to hear real interviews with people, real interviews. And Drake, Kendrick, or Cole have no interest in doing a real interview with anyone right now. But yeah, we're supposed to just take this as what it's going to be. It's going to be entertainment. It's just satire.
Elliot Wilson assessment of what this interview was going to be was actually spot on, to be honest. All right. It was malarkey and foolery from the very beginning. Like, Drake at some point burst out in that interview and was singing to Bobby.
You like a lot of makeup on a girl? What's your thought? Don't do that. I don't like this. Do you like girls with makeup or no makeup? Makeup or no makeup? I don't like the sound of this. What are you singing? I feel like I've heard what you're singing.
Clearly, it's clear as day, Drake at this stage in his career is not interested in no hard-hitting interview with a journalist. But that's what made this interview hella more frustrating, because clearly Drake isn't taking his interview seriously. But Drake also engaged in conversation pieces that we care about. But Bobby Althoff was the interviewer, and she was incompetent or smart enough to know it's not her lane, so she kept quiet. So when he engaged in these conversations or the subjects that we care about, we kind of got the itch scratched, but we never truly got the in-depth conversation that we are yearning for. Like when Drake talked about how he feels when people call him a culture vulture. That's a conversation piece that we care about. But unfortunately for us, the interviewer was Bobby Althoff.
Oh, you're a culture vulture, or like like people will describe the collaborative efforts that I've put forth and the artists that I've picked up and lifted up or shine a light on as me taking, they'll put a negative spin on it and try and tell me, that it's a self-serving thing or whatever. And I think I get really sensitive about that. And I think at that moment I was just like, well, you know what? Then don't even worry about it.
Anybody, and I mean literally anyone who meets the bare qualifications for being competent would have used this as a segue into Not Like Us and Kendrick calling him a colonizer and have that conversation. But I can't even give Bobby too much, like flack, because Drake don't do interviews where he's walking into it not knowing the questions. Drake in his interviews right now, he scripts the questions. He knows exactly what's being asked. His team control the footage and the editing, so they pick and choose what to edit out and what to keep. So it was probably out of Bobby's hands. But I would have loved to see somebody up the culture do a deep dive on this and address Kendrick Lamar accusing him of being this. You even had moments where Drake would reference his beef with Rick Ross, and it went swoop right over Bobby Althoff's head, not knowing exactly what's going on, bro. And as a fan of the culture, man, you just sit back and you say, oh. We were robbed of certain conversations being had, man, because the interviewer was incompetent or had her hands tied behind her back and didn't really have the control of power to act certain things.
I've never seen someone ice rosé, but
You've never seen someone ice rosé?
Mm-hmm.
Well, talk to every jeweler in Miami that has fake diamonds.
Really, they do that?
Nobody got that joke.
You know what they is, man. Fuck. Well, y'all quit, man, for real, man. I see y'all boys outside when I see y'all, man, for real, man. On some real shit. I talk some body shit. I'm gonna see y'all when I see y'all, man, for real. I got hope. For real. Real talk.
I don't know if you should have done all that.
Yeah.
I'm taking this.
Maybe that was trolling, satire, or maybe he was real when he says, yo, I'm gonna see y'all pee soon in his Atlanta accent. I don't know, man. I feel like that was kind of corny. I don't know. I wouldn't have done that, to be honest. But yeah, man. All right. How do y'all feel about Drake and Bobby Althoff interview, man? All right. Are y'all satisfied with it? Did it scratch the itch y'all have? let me know, okay? And if you're still watching, click on this video here somewhere on my screen, somewhere here, or here on my screen, all right, to find out how Young Thug just got exposed again, and it keeps getting worse for Young Thug. Click on this video right here to find out how it keeps getting worse. I'm gonna see you guys in this video. I'm out of here, folks. Peace.